Hi, I'm John Gifford. I'm Director of System Engineering here at REDCOM Laboratories. We're going to talk today about our Sigma software product. The thing that's really cool about Sigma is that it's got a full local session controller solution built into it for the enterprise side of the voice, but it also has a very robust PTT voice solution. So it really brings a complete package together for the tactical markets. We're going to talk about what we'll call the 3 C's of voice bridging here today and kind of compare and contrast those and why Sigma has the different capabilities. So that's conferencing and channels and console patches. So we'll start with conferencing. It's a traditional telecommunications sort of session-based, it's got a beginning and an end. It's based on, typically you got people dialing in with their phones. Sigma will bridge in whatever types of endpoints it needs to. So we can bring in something like a half-duplex radio into a conference to be a member of a conference along with people on telephones, and they can all talk. So it's a multiple talker. Now in Sigma, we let you configure how many talkers you want to hear. And we do have a operator app for conferences if you've got a situation where you've got a lot of conferences going on and you need a live operator for that. But you don't have to have that. Conferences can be either preset, where the system is pre-configured to reach out and dial in the members and they all come in, or you can have a Meet Me conference where the members dial in to a dial code that's set up in the conference. That doesn't translate real well to the most tactical edge, far edge of the communication world, where people are using more radios and PTT communications. So what we have in Sigma, in addition to conferences, is a concept we call channels. A lot of people might think of this as just PTT channels. I call it kind of software-defined channels because it allows you to configure groups where you can share and communicate information. Today we have PTT voice that's shared through channels, through the different groups that you set up. The big difference is that they're meant to not emulate the experience you have in a room talking to each other, but more the experience you would have with radios, where you can talk, you can listen, but you can't do both at the same time. So it can be used either to extend an existing radio net to other endpoints that don't have the radios. Maybe they have a soft client, or they have a desk phone, or you bring them in through some other technology. It can also be used to crossband multiple radio nets together. And it can even be used to emulate a radio net where you have no radio users at all, where all of the users are on a soft app or on a telephone or whatever it may be, and you bring them all together and they talk as though they were on radios. The 3rd C was for the console patches, and that's similar to channels in some ways, but the difference is that the console is for situations where you need a live operator sitting in front of a pane of glass and actually communicating and listening to what's going on with the different comms. And they can dynamically patch those connections together on the fly and manage that in a more dynamic way than you would with the channels. It's very similar to the channels in that it is meant more for the tactical space, so it's the same single talker mode of communications. So that part of the experience is similar, but it's a different interface for kind of controlling who's bridged to whom. The use case that I like to talk about that kind of brings all these pieces together is if you imagine a situation where you've got a couple of teams, Team A and Team B, maybe it's a safety team and a medical team or whatever it is, and they might be using a mix of radios and soft clients. You've got a live operator in front of the console screen and they're managing the communications. They want to be able to, on the fly, bridge together those 2 logical groups. So I got to bridge them together in a console patch. But the operator doesn't want to have to know the details of who's in those groups and what their endpoints look like and how they came together. So you would pre-configure a channel for Team A, and you'd pre-configure a channel for Team B, and they might have a mix of radio users brought in through radio gateways, and maybe somebody on our soft app, our client app that brings them into the channel. And we don't have to know that. So for example, the team lead maybe isn't on site. Maybe you've got everybody on site using a radio net. You've got the team lead maybe is off site and they're using a soft client coming in over a data connection. And Sigma software bridges all that together in the channel for them. But then you've got the console operator who doesn't need to know that. They don't know that the team lead is coming in a different way. They just know, I got team A and team B, they're talking on their radio nets, I got to bring them together, and you can patch them together, and then when that emergency situation's done, you can tear that patch down, and now the channels are still up and each team can talk amongst themselves. The other piece with the channel solution is that we have a channels soft client specific to that, which allows you to bring in more than just traditional radios and telephones. It's an actual soft app. It's very simple and straightforward to use. We have a Windows version, we have an ATEC plugin for that, and it allows you to see all the different groups you're on, and you get a separate PTT button for each one of those. But that brings in flexibility for the end users with the channel solution. So I hope that brief overview helped you understand the different ways that Sigma can bridge voice solutions in the field.